Question of the day is this. Do you think that the Kamala Harris interview yesterday was the end of her campaign?
From what I seen of it, yes. I couldn't bear watching the
I
entire thing. Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna change anyone's mind that it's already made up.
yeah,
Okay.
and this close to the election, I don't think anybody's gonna be persuaded by a debate or an interview. I really don't. I think their minds are already set. They should be. I mean, they've had enough to examine over
Y
the course of months.
What do you think? And what do you think was
I
the
think she blew
worst
it up. I think last night she came unglued. I think that I told you that Brett was going to push back. I know that Trump was already setting things up that she was, he was not going to be as good and everything like that, but I think he was setting the stage for her. But when she came in there, she tried to ice him. And like 20 minutes later, when those guys were coming in there, she could not from the first second she started talking, she tried to
take over
answer
the
questions
debate?
and she couldn't do it.
But do you think I think he was fair. I don't think that he did
Oh, he didn't do anything.
anything than that, 60 Minutes interview except edit in
Right.
post-production, but I don't think the questions he asked
But
were hard. She should have known that they were gonna be asked.
what he did that no one else did was he actually pushed back. He actually gave her follow-up questions that was not just softball questions. He did not give her lobs. He asked her really hard questions of saying, like, for instance, in the last when 79% of the country is saying, and she had no comeback for
R
that. Her
Yeah.
facial expression was, "Oh, crap."
But the
And
thing about it, don't you think that she should have been prepared for it, John?
Oh,
That
I think
knowing that she's going to Fox
Oh, I think
News?
she would, but I think she's depending on basically this is area of the territory, the Fox News interviews area where she wasn't in like a home court, basically. I mean, she didn't have a cheering section and people giving her the tips and the things in the earbud and all that stuff. I mean,
Oh,
she did have the earbud.
someone said that she had one side of her head was highly sprayed.
Also.
Her hair, I think it was I'm not sure who said it was, but that was pointed out that the hair didn't move on that side of her head.
Oh, so there's a good likelihood that she had an earpiece, and then, I mean, I guess that's the modern day technology. It's about a,
it
it's,
didn't help her.
I don't, yeah, it doesn't seem to. I mean,
She
she's not
tried
that bright. She's
Well,
not.
and plus, when you're one-on-one and you have to give immediate answers, it's a little bit hard because you have to process what somebody's saying into your ear.
Yeah.
right?
I
And
mean, I have voices in my head all the day, but I can ignore them, and I'm used
We
to it.
hope
But
you.
the average person, I don't think can.
But she 3 different things that he caught her on. One was Joe Biden, one was the economy, and one was inflation, and one was immigration.
Well, do you think because of that she's too embarrassed to go
Joe Rogan thing?
to the dinner
No, she had already made the decision not to
prior
go
to
to yeah,
that? What's the name of the dinner?
the Al Smith dinner.
He was like a civil rights leader or something, wasn't he, Al Smith?
Al Smith was okay, so this is a slap in the face to the Catholics all across because
Okay.
this is the biggest Catholic dinner thing across the thing. The last person that did not do this was Walter Mondale back in 1984, and he lost in a landslide. What happened yesterday was the Dukakis moment. This
Hmm.
was the Dukakis moment. In this thing right now, if she does this, she's slapping the Catholics in the face. She's
Right.
already got, and then today she's meeting with going to Wisconsin with
Yeah.
Mark Cuban, and guess what? They're already out there in the front of the Palestinians. Are already screaming, and they're already having
Protest.
protests up in the front. Already, her and Mark Cuban aren't really winning over the crowd
Yeah, just
going in.
and then, yeah, she's definitely that's a volatile issue right now. Like, well, I wouldn't want to go into that right now. I wouldn't want to be facing that, even if you had your own ideas. You're part of an administration that's backing this one government. You're not, even if you personally find it offensive or bad, you can't say much because you're the vice president. And then,
But Trump's still going, right?
yeah,
Trump,
But it's not gonna. So that just means the media won't cover the dinner.
well, they'll cover it even more.
No,
But
not if she were to go to it, yeah, they would cover it. They'll just glance over whatever
I
for Trump.
just think of too though. We just had our governor on, Whitmer, being kind of creating like a ripple, a big impact, with that depiction of some people took it as the comedian, with the wafer instead of the wafer,
The Doritos.
Dorito. And so since she is a Democrat as well, also a female politician, and she is in the same party. I wonder if between this, the Al Smith snub, and the that incident right there, that might really kind of drive a wedge between the Democratic Party's voting base, which usually is the Democratic voting base largely. So I wonder if that worked in concert together.
well, they're driving a wedge between they're driving the wedges between the male vote. They're driving it between.
Okay, but do you
the
really
Jewish
think
vote.
there's these pollsters try to say that there's a Hispanic vote, there's a black vote, there's a woman vote, there's an educated vote? Do you really think that they're who are they talking to? Have they ever talked to you?
No, they don't.
Well,
They try.
Are they trying to break us down in these little groups like they know what they're? I don't think they actually know what they're talking
Well,
about.
the assertion they're making, though, I mean, or the assumption they're making when they're doing that, they're saying the black vote, the white vote, or Hispanic vote. They're thinking that everybody's in lockstep with each other, and I mean that should be an insult to if you're anybody from an ethnic group. You should say, I do have my own thoughts. I mean, I would take this as an affront. I
do
really
you
would.
do you believe the polls? Do you have
No, I've never believed it. I don't believe the polls half the time. 99% of the time, I think they're full of crap because you can lead a poll any way you want to.
Yeah,
depending on how you ask the question?
Yeah, how you ask the
especially
question.
because you probably both took classes in college in
Political science.
sociology and political
Right.
science where they explained about polls.
yeah. I mean, it's easy to manipulate and manipulate answers, and people feel compelled to give certain answers the way you word it. So
It's how you start it, and it's how you end that question, right?
Yeah.
In the middle is where you lose the person,
No,
and they don't really care.
because you can make a person feel a certain way by just asking the question. You can
Right,
make them
right.
feel positive or negative against it without them knowing.
another
Right.
thing is if it's an open-ended or closed-ended question. I mean, it's like basically, you give them you don't give them a clear-cut, option. You just say yes or no answer. That's a closed one. If you give them an open-ended, question, then there's a chance for them to actually insert their own ideas or thinking behind it. That's not typically all, and they should be. During surveys, they ask you to say this many closed and this many open-ended questions. In research, they ask you
Right.
to tell you to do that. And
But how many times have you heard pollsters talk about, "Ooh, the polls are tightening"? Okay, they're giving BS polls right now because it doesn't matter. But now that it's down to the wire, they've got to tighten and actually give the real information because they want to make money next time that they have to do polls.
Yeah.
They want to be correct.
Right.
So
want to
you
be
think,
relevant,
but they do that for the news.
right?
So a poll is news for the
The news.
for the legacy media to report on, like it means something.
I think the one that I like listening to is the Frank Luntz one. I do watch him because he does the real time. Because people are turning at the real time of
Mm.
what's going on, and they're watching the poll, they're watching the numbers as people are.
Yeah, but then he interprets it like he's the mad professor.
Yeah.
He's running the dials and he understands how to read it. But
anyone can watch.
But okay,
anyone can watch.
but
those
where do
numbers
they
and
get
watch it.
these people?
They grab them from
Colleges or
colleges. They grab them from anywhere they want to. I mean, they grab them from certain groups that they want to grab
Well,
'em from.
until they vet people and show me where they come from, I don't believe any more in Frank Luntz than anybody else.
Well, look at what you and I's experienced, Steve, about the local media. They got these people they consider like pundits or experts and stuff, and they're the rehash. A lot of times they've been often wrong in the past, but they keep on parading them past those.
Who's that one professor that they always go to? The Tom Sumner always like.
Paul Brzezinski,
Yeah, always went to him.
yeah. So I mean,
They're like weathermen. They're
Yeah.
wrong all the time, but yet they still have a job.
No, I know some weathermen who are right all the time.
yeah,
but
I wouldn't embarrass or say
90% of the
slight
weather,
weathermen by saying that's
90% of the weathermen I know are wrong.
well, you know the wrong ones.
Well,
the wrong ones. Yeah, he's
but anyways, I'm going on to the next one. Go ahead.
okay. No, I'll say
It's whatever you want to talk about.
Okay, whatever I want to talk about. No, I was thinking. Another thing is, I think the people look at the polls for validation. And they're saying, "Oh man, they're telling me my candidate doesn't have a chance. Maybe I should switch to vote." I think that's what used to be the case. I mean, I think that's not.
But when you find out that they only asked like 800 people,
right out of thousands or millions,
out of thousands or millions of people, and they know how to weight it to make it seem like they asked 1 million people. How's that possible?
No, it
And
isn't.
those 800 people just got paid to
Right.
say what they want you to say. So,
Or the person taking the polls getting paid.
right.
Well, the last time Trump ran, when he got elected, I mean, they were expecting to be like, totally devastated, blown out, shut out. And then the media was like the mainstream, the legacy media was like, oh my God, these people, these polls weren't right. Well, I don't think people answered the questions right.
2016, they could have called it at like 9:00 at night.
Right.
But they stretched that out all the way to 2:00 in the morning.
Well, she was.
No one would. But no, what I'm saying is the media
Right.
stretched it out like it was a done deal by 10:00.
Right. Well, but if you saw it at 8 o'clock when it started turning toward Trump, I mean, because we got
I didn't watch it. I just listened to the people that I normally listen to.
Okay, well, if you were watching mainstream media, it was funny because at 8 o'clock, they were all having like meltdowns. I mean, Van Jones said, I just had to call my house and tell my daughters,
But
and they were in tears, and I had to
Yeah.
consult them. What did you have to do? I mean, it's a guy who got elected as president. It wasn't
but
like
the thing I'm
he turned
saying,
in a Nazi.
they could have called it. It was a done deal. Like 10 o'clock at night, Trump had won, but they stretched it out like Hillary had a chance when she didn't.
Yeah, they're looking for the Hail Mary, I guess.
And the same thing. That's where TikTok's going to come in, and YouTube, and the other alternate media is going to come in, and they're going to tell the truth, and we're going to know way before the people who watch regular national news will know that it's a done deal.
I definitely am looking forward to seeing Trump back in office. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm definitely looking forward to that.
That'll be a better.
Yeah.
That'll be a better feeling.
And speaking of TikTok, they're the new monster again. They're going after TikTok again.
Really?
Yeah, because everything you can't. There's not one corporation that you can't point at that China owns a chunk of, but they're so worried about TikTok that's owned primarily by U.S. investors. I don't even think China's invested in it anymore.
Well, yeah. Another thing is too. I always thought that was bizarre that our First Amendment couldn't say they couldn't use the First Amendment to shut down the government's move to try to ban TikTok anyway. I mean, it should be. Well, we don't like it because it's from a foreign company. Well, I know you guys have already been paid for by the corporations of other countries to give them our secrets. But what does the average person have access to that's detrimental to national security? That's what I like to know. What's so detrimental that we have?
And how hard do you have to hunt for some of the things that they say is going on in TikTok?
Right.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean,
What they're saying is that they're taking their information and they're trying to dummy us down.
Okay, Apple's not doing it.
Yeah.
Google's not doing it.
Hulu's not doing it.
Hulu, all these things. I mean,
Amazon's
that
not
we
doing
were
it.
just talking about. Our kids aren't as smart as we were when we were kids. They can't tell time on an analog clock. They can't make change.
No.
They
can't read or write
can't read.
cursive.
They can't. Well, you should be able to at least read it. I
Yeah.
don't know if you have to write it.
Right.
Why can't you write cursive? You should be able to write cursive.
Yeah, they should.
But I'm saying you should be able to at least read it because all of our historical documents are written in cursive.
Right. It's another thing is too though. No, the education systems now too much worried about giving them all these type of pronoun options. That's what they're worried about. It's like, what is your pronoun? And it's like, we don't want to cover something that's useful.
You get out more than we do. I mean, do you see pronouns in the everyday world?
Slightly, but not a lot.
Or pronouns like you brought this up when it was
No,
going
I
on.
don't. I don't. When I'm in shows or something, like that, once
Do you worry about it as a business owner?
No.
Do you ask people what's your pronoun?
No, I don't give a shit.
Has anybody ever told you?
No.
Like somebody else said though, and I think you brought it up one time, Steve, is like you're typically not talking about the person using their pronoun when you're in their presence. You're talking when
It's
they're
past
not
tense.
the past tense.
They,
They, she, he, or
yeah,
whatever.
you can.
Right.
When
So
you're
using
talking
it wrong.
I'm not past tense,
grammatically wrong.
but grammatically it's
Right.
wrong. I can't call you a he when you're here.
Yeah. So it's like you're using this grammatically wrong, and you're having teachers and educators using this grammatically wrong,
Right.
and professors using this grammatically wrong.
Yeah.
We teach it.
And it's mostly in the liberal arts, which would include English.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like it's stupid.
And you wonder how we spend money on liberal art colleges.
Well, see, the traditional liberal arts college actually got us to the point where we're as a country. We had the original traditional liberals were actually people who valued individuality, and now it's become actually liberals are not liberals; they're collectivist. If you look into the Ayn Rand, terminology.
Well, they steal everything. Socialists steal everything,
Yeah.
even monikers or names.
They co-opted it. Certainly, they did.
Talking about that, stealing everything, the plagiarism thing with Kamala Harris
Yeah.
coming out. They are actually saying that this plagiarism that she committed, that they're finding out that she committed on those books, it's a lot more serious than what we were talking about the other day.
It's
That
like
it
what,
was
like 50 passages, isn't it?
yeah, it's a whole
What's-
lot more serious.
See, I know because I mean, I had friends who went through the master's degree and they went to PhD level, and they had to do the thesis and all that, and they had to defend their thesis, and they did cite what you do when you do research for that is you do look at somebody else's work, and all you got to do is use somebody else's work and cite it. That's all
Cite
you
it?
got to do.
Right.
If you're using it directly,
Or directly, yeah.
directly or indirectly. I
Right.
mean, because you can.
If you want to sound smarter, use their things and then cite it.
Exactly. I mean, it's not that big. I mean, that's
Yeah, but when you're writing a book about yourself, it's sort of hard to cite somebody else's work to explain your life story, isn't it?
Well,
that shows a detachment from your own experience. That's
Well, she
not
didn't even
healthy.
write the book; she had a ghostwriter.
And that also shows something. If she can't write her own book about her own self,
the problem is that Kamala Harris, and I know it sounds like we always bash her,
well, we should.
but the problem is with this woman is that she's a chameleon.
But again, like we said, we're not telling anybody how to vote.
No,
And if Kamala Harris were the better candidate,
we'd all be on
we'd
board.
vote for her. I don't care if somebody's a Republican like Gabbard. I would vote for her. It'd be a hard decision between Trump and Gabbard for me.
If she was running, yeah, if she
Right.
got the Democratic, nomination, yeah, it would have been because she's no nonsense. She's commonsensical. She's
Well, look at what happened when she ran. She ran, and look what Hillary Clinton did after her.
Right, because she said the wrong things and she wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid. And that was the problem. If she would have carried the Democratic banner, she would be she probably would be president right now. If she would have went along with everything that they wanted and not been true to herself.
Can I ask? Here's a question I've got. It's not in our thoughts, but do you ever wonder if Hillary Clinton really is a Russian asset?
No,
and I'm asking, and I'm being serious.
Hillary Clinton puts the ass in ass.
No, she's an ass.
Yeah.
Wait,
But
she's
no,
not.
I don't. I think
The reason why I'm asking that.
I think she's a much better candidate than Joe Biden.
No, and I think she is. But here's the reason why I'm asking that. Okay, there's a serious reason I'm asking that. Every time Hillary Clinton doesn't like somebody, watch what she says.
They're a Russian asset.
Yeah.
Or
So
that's-
when somebody there's fire, when there's a smoke there, there's always, and the one thing I know about the Democratic main party, the main leaders of the party, is that when they're accusing you of something, stop and turn around and look at what they're accusing you of.
exactly.
And usually they're doing what they're accusing you
Yeah,
of.
basically, it's called
Right.
projection in the psychological terms. It's like, in psychological terms, you find something so reprehensible about yourself that you don't want to deal with on your own. So you put it on somebody else and attack that person because you think they have that attribute or you label them with that
Right.
attribute. So, and that's Marxian. That's a Marxian approach. I mean, Karl Marx talked about it. Also, Saul Alinsky in the Rules for Radicals uses that same approach. I mean, you personalize the enemy and basically turn everything against them, and you make it personal. And they're very good at that. And
Well,
But she's always been that way.
But
We spent 12 years now. And
yeah,
everything else that she doesn't like, the person's a Russian asset.
right.
right. But
In millions of dollars. as
do
I
you
said.
think Kamala Harris is the everyman's candidate? Do you think she represents the working class? Do you or don't you?
No,
In what world?
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't think of any guy I know, working class or even working class women, who she embodies. I mean, she's so out of touch with the average person. Hell no, she doesn't even know. I mean, and the thing is, I don't think Donald Trump is in touch with the average person. Like the experience of everyday people because he's been out of it so
Do you
long.
think
But I
that-
think she certainly, yeah, they like him better. They
Do
don't.
you
like
think
her.
she understands
No.
the
No.
working class person?
Not at
Oh,
all.
God, no.
The priorities are totally different. These elitists have this. Oh, they have these lofty things and assume that you have a great income. Well, when you're trying to put food on the table and you're very struggling to do that, having trips all over the world to study this and study that, and no, that's just beyond your reach.
But-
She's totally out of
You
reach.
have to work so hard
Yeah.
to actually look like you're middle class or you're like your average person. When you have to work so hard to be like that.
But she's not authentic.
No,
she's
no,
not.
there's no way in hell. She doesn't even. She's not even.
I don't even think she
pretends it.
knows who she is. Do you?
No, I don't think so.
I think she is what people tell her when she gets up. She's got her sister, who is her main advisor, tells her every morning what she is when she wakes up.
Yeah.
Well, look at the accents you alluded to. They're changing accents and doing when she addresses different groups. That right there shows kind of I think that's kind of a disorder. right
How
there.
could just think about the people that are behind her that made her? Because last night proves that she doesn't have intelligence.
Right.
That she's void of anything in her brain.
Yet people on the Democratic side yesterday were saying, "Oh my God, she did a great interview." I was trying to figure out how the hell what was I watching that you
But
weren't
if you
watching?
noticed what was pointed out, I don't know if you ever watched Mark Dice, but he pointed out, yeah, they talked about the interview, but they didn't use any of the sound bites to back it up, like on CNN
That's right.
or any other shows, because there are no killer moments for her
Like stellar
where
moments.
she had
She
to come
did try
back.
to get loud and upset, but
Yeah,
she couldn't go anywhere with
but
it.
Brett Barrett has that HR voice like you have.
Right.
He didn't raise it. He kept the same tone. Yeah, and he had a hard job. He had to ask questions that were hard enough of her to make his base happy, but at the same time he didn't want to go
Too
too
deep.
hard on her.
Right.
And I don't think he did go that hard on her getting back to that interview. I think he just asked normal questions. And like you said, I think what's stunned her is that she regurgitated whatever her little practice line was, and then he asked a follow up.
She couldn't do
Do
the
you think
follow-up.
that too?
And she's thinking like, oh no, God, we didn't cover that part. We didn't
no.
go that far. You know?
Nobody has ever given me a follow-up. What do you
yeah.
mean? What the hell is this?
You know, I just had a thought too. Say you and I or anybody here, say for some reason we roasted, we're actually gonna be in the public eye on the press, a group like that or a press show like that, media show, and they're asking us questions about our thoughts. They would go after us tooth and nail. They're trying to bury us. I mean, they would go vicious on it. I don't care if the Democrat or Republican. If you're challenging the narrative somebody was saying, they'd go after you and try to humiliate you. But when they're the political classes and already established,
They're supposed to be
soft
nice.
shell. Yeah. So but they go after the average citizen who is caught in the limelight
And tear them apart without even talking
right.
about them. Hearsay.
This morning I was thinking about this morning I was driving, and I was thinking, you know what? She's used to asking all the questions. She's not used to being asked the questions.
I don't think she's smart enough to ask a question of any substance.
I wonder because she was a prosecutor. I know she had a conviction rate. It was supposed to be pretty considerable, but I was wondering how many was this plea deals, because I don't see her as being all that great of a trial lawyer. I can't see her. I mean, she can't answer questions. She's not good at thinking on her feet. That's what I see. She's not good at thinking on her feet and reacting on her feet. She's not.
Well, they're overturning the laws that she actually wrote on the ballots that were passed.
Right.
The one that said up to $900,
Mhm.
is not considered.
What if you commit theft of
Yeah.
$900 or less?
It's a misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
So that's
Well, they're having to overturn those because.
But she's the one that wrote the.
But it's too late, don't you think?
the damage has been done. I mean,
if you're a business owner, how many times would you have to be robbed and start over? That they not only steal money out of your register, but they steal your inventory.
I'm done.
Because how many business owners have? How many months of inventory do you think the average business owner has?
And that's the thing is right there. You bring it up a point too. That she and her the political class have this hatred towards business class.
What do you think? I mean, how could somebody be that someone in power? Because she was in power and she is in power today. But how could you think like that you're a good businessman, you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're paying your taxes, and she survives on taxes because that's how she gets paid. Why would you do that to your tax base?
They don't
even
care.
if they don't like you.
Because
no, you have to care because at some point you're not going to have any money.
But they don't understand. They don't care. They don't understand that. They don't care.
I can't believe that.
I'm one vote. They don't.
But you're not only one vote. I'm not talking about your vote. She probably cares less about how you vote,
right?
Because you don't matter I'm saying you don't matter as a person, but you're her tax base. Your money.
But she's her type.
I'm not talking about your political.
When they stand up and they say this, that anybody that's like.
I think what I'm asking is a question that can't be answered.
I
don't think it should. I don't think most people would want to really have a full realization of what the answer is. They don't care.
Do you think they're in the moment and they're obviously not thinking about the future, right?
That's exactly right. Because they're not that long. They're not that long, far-fetched.
But still,
stuff. They're not.
We always talk about they.
Mm-hmm.
whoever they are, have to have a master plan of why they're doing what they're doing.
Once they get their power, once they get the power that they
Okay,
have.
but if there's nothing there, what do you got the power over? A
Because
shithole?
then, but no, once they're
What
there,
are you going to do? You
then the
tear
government-
up a city and you make it worthless. There's
Then-
no tax base, but now you're in power of it. That still doesn't make any sense.
well, then you got the states going to give you money, and then you got the
The federal
federal
But
government
at some
gonna give
point, the state's going to say no more, and so is the federal government.
you- well, until that
I mean,
happens.
actually, Trump, when he was in office, he said, "Go ahead and go bankrupt California. I'm not giving you any money." I'm sure you can go back and find that when he said that. He made
Right.
a threat like that.
Right. But until somebody
Do you
can-
think the rest of the country is going to stand for bailing California out? I don't.
no.
But I think it's going to be done anyway.
I don't think it will.
Not under Trump, but if she gets in, yeah, I think so. I mean, and I don't know how we can keep all these wars going, bail out of the country. Basically, it's another country.
So there
California's
needs to
another
be
Because
an-
we keep doing this.
Right.
This is
So
what we keep doing.
we need a reset. We need that famous Hillary Clinton button,
right.
and it needs to be given to our own government so we
Where
can
you
push
reset
it
everything.
and reset our government.
Because they
We
just
need
gotta-
adults.
See, they think that the rest of us are out here to serve them. We have to be sacrificed for them. It's like, well, John Kerry's comments about people being harder to govern and stuff shows
can't-
the arrogance these people have.
Yeah, saying that he can't cut through the noise
Yeah,
to get their message to
Yeah.
the people.
Did you hear what Vivek's
Swami,
Sure, yeah.
what'd he say?
What do you say?
what his role going to be in the
What'd he
government?
say?
What do you say?
He's going to go into the government along with what Elon Musk is doing, and they're going to go in looking at all the different agencies and everything, all the money going out to the states and all that, and they're going to try to fix all the different problems they're going back and
Do you
forth.
think he's going to be able to do anything?
No, because for one thing, I mean, what they're going to do is what the press is going to do is they got one agency is particular, the baby of somebody, and they're going to go after that, and they're going to get shut down because the press is going to go
Because
after
they died, just like
one
that.
baby
just-
died or something.
yeah.
Just like that lie that they said that
They're gonna
woman
throw
in
her.
Georgia that they kept on talking about that drove to North Carolina and she died.
You mean that they had those malpractice?
Yeah, that was. If you
Because Lord
look
knows
into
if
it,
we ever
was,
did it.
the whole story wasn't true.
Because we wouldn't want to go for the whole information.
All right.
So let's talk about
Well, What I was going to say is
Right.
that I seen an interview today. What Como is that his name? The Fredo.
Fredo.
Fredo was interviewing someone, and they're going back and forth because the person's like the head of Trump's team
Mhm.
to go in to set everything up, and the person was really excited talking about all the Republicans that he had, and Fredo said, "Wait a minute, you mean you don't have any Democrats on that team?" He said, "No. Well, why would I? Well, to have bipartisanship. Trump's a Republican. Why does he need Democrats
Right.
unless they're the best people to have?"
Well, to turn around them, how many times did the Democrats, when they're doing putting a group together, or whatever, how many times do they consult with the Republicans or put a Republican in there? They don't. I don't think they do. They don't
They
got a
didn't
way to
this
do that.
last time.
They don't. So I mean,
There was a one Republican that
But he
put on
was
his-
like, he was put off that there were not going to be any
well,
Democrats.
see, like you and I think
that was a fake put off.
whenever heard bipartisan, that scares the hell out of me, because now they're both buckling down to screw the hell out of us.
Yeah,
That's
but
rather
why
than-
should you? I
And
mean,
that's-
if you won, if you're Caesar, Caesar does what Caesar wants, right?
Right.
To a certain point.
And
The Democrats didn't ask for any Republicans to help them with Joe Biden, did they?
Oh
oh
God,
hell no.
no.
I don't remember anybody. No, they wanted to come in and tear everything down, including the wall.
If I remember right, wasn't it Barack Obama said that elections have consequences?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but no, God, but please, no, this wasn't a consequence we were hoping for. No, please have mercy on us. I mean, give us quarter. No, you said that there was no quarter.
And another stupid thing that I heard in the news. Do you think J.D. Vance is too loyal to Donald Trump?
Oh dear God, no.
No, oh,
You don't.
I think
No,
he's-
they
I-
think he's too. But don't you want loyalty
Yeah,
in
that's-
your vice president?
Well, you want
Isn't
somebody's
that
got
why
your
you
back?
pick him?
You want someone's got your back.
But they're upset. The media is upset because they think he's too loyal to Trump.
Well, let's face it. I mean, Democrats don't have loyalty. They don't have principle. I mean, if they may benefit from throwing somebody under the bus, they will. Even if their own family member, they'll throw under the bus. I mean, that's where they are.
Well, that's the one thing that she brought up yesterday about how, Mike Pence is even on my side. I'm thinking
Yeah.
Mike Pence did not come out and endorse you. I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
But just because he said he's not going to run, endorse
Trump.
Trump. Well, Trump wasn't asking him either, so I didn't see that as a big thing. So I
What do
don't
you
think.
what do you guys think about a 4-day work week? Bernie Sanders is trying to push that
Um,
again.
you know,
How would that work for your business? Would you have to hire like 3 different
I think
shifts?
Bernie needs to stay his ass home.
How would a business contend with a 4-day work week? What, just have people work
He wants people
four
work for
10-hour shifts?
Yeah, that's what they tried before. And
But no, I'm asking you as a business owner, would
no,
that work for you?
not always. No. And I'll tell you why, because you know what? Sometimes we have to work the then what happens on a Friday when we need shows to
But
be covered.
for you, like your what you do, isn't it important during your business hours that if you need something, you can go get it from another business?
Yeah.
yeah.
That obviously at a certain time it doesn't make any sense
Right.
unless you're doing something that like making chocolate or
W-
something.
We have to be sometimes working 5 days, sometimes 7 days.
But
And sometimes you have to work people in different shifts that way, but at least 5 days a week. Yeah. And I think when the government gets their fat asses and put them in our spots, they need to shut their freaking heads up.
Mm.
And this is okay. You know what? You talk to politicians all the time.
Mhm.
Let me do this one, please.
All right.
Listen, if you're a freaking politician, I want you to look straight in my eyes. I want to tell you some advice. Get your ass away from my businesses and any other businesses. We are so fucking tired of you guys. One, you guys don't ever start a company. Two, you don't know the first thing it is about starting a business. Stay your ass in your own lane. The first time in your life, do something smart. Take your freaking paychecks, go find your freaking prostitutes, go find your little drugs, go to a P. Diddy freak off party, do whatever you have to do, go get high, go do whatever, go sell our country down the river if you need to. But stay the freak out of businesses. We don't can't come in and tell you what to do on your business weeks. Stay the heck out of my business.
No, because when we do try to go in and tell them what to do, they put us at a table, a little table in front of all of them,
I'd love to.
and then they go off on you
Please,
Yeah,
because
please.
they go through your Facebook and they go through
No,
your Twitter
invite me.
posts, and
Invite
then
me.
they start asking you stupid questions.
Invite me to Washington D.C. Put me right in
They
front
would
of
just
you.
shut you down.
And Bernie, I'd love to sit there and talk to your fat ass.
Another thing
And
is-
Nadler, I'd love to sit there and talk to you as
Oh.
you're fucking exploding and talk to you about how your freaking buffet experiences are as you're freaking falling asleep. And I don't care if you guys have a problem with me calling you all idiots, dorks, or anything. And I don't care about your laws, your rules, or anything like that. You can hold me in contempt. I will call you what I think every freaking day. And it'll be the most exciting time on press because I guarantee you I want to use every freaking swear word you could come up with because I'm from the Navy and I can tell you every freaking word we know in the Navy. So don't you ever invite me there because I will guarantee you I will open your freaking eyes to do one thing. You communist pig, Bernie Sanders, you better never get in my freaking way again when it comes to business.
Well, I'd like to know this. Why is he concerned about people working? He's never done that job. He's never done anything. It's like, oh, I know what
He had that meme where he was in the mittens and he had the mask.
Yeah.
They were putting him in that chair
Yeah.
and he was sitting in on
With the
boats,
boats and
in
everything.
the woods in a murder scene.
God, I get so tired of that man.
Did you hear that one of his jobs was he listed one of his jobs? He was actually he wrote basically like erotica, and it was like bondage and S&M kind of
His wife sold the
I don't even.
business.
I've never seen his wife.
His wife
She,
um
she ran
a
a
college.
college. She ran into the ground.
and she ran in the ground and she was trying to get money from all the different things and she embezzled money.
Well, she did. I know she embezzled. I didn't hear that part, but I mean, I know that if it was one up in Vermont, which was a nice, where they're from, and it was a nice college, and she
Ran it down the
she-
line and she
ran-
embezzled money. She took money from the college.
But what do you think about Missouri's come up with the new law that you can't get a divorce while your wife is pregnant, or she can't divorce you while she's pregnant? Is that wrong?
Missouri came up with that?
That's their law.
What would purpose of that serve? Is that like a Preservation of Family Act or something? I mean, I don't think that's doing that job. I don't think it's going to be effective.
It's even in a case of domestic violence that they can't get a
Oh, that's
divorce.
great. Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I can kind of see both sides of that one.
Well, I obviously I don't think either one. Maybe you have, but when you go to get a divorce, to have a cool down period,
Yeah.
you just can't immediately get a divorce.
Usually 6
anyways.
months. It's usually 6 months.
I just think it's
But you can be separated.
from what I see, for the initial what you just said about it, I think it's just another overreach. I really don't think
Of
the
government?
Yeah, government. I do. I think that's bizarre. I mean, and then they wonder if that was Republican House or Senate or governor, whoever passed that, or
Conservatives.
yeah.
That's what.
See, that's another thing is conservatives. Okay, I believe in conservative values, but what I believe is conserving or preserving the Constitution. And you making these asinine laws like this, it's a slap in the face. You don't call yourself a constitutionalist and try to get this kind of stuff passed through. I don't. It's a no go for me.
I think sometimes they just go stupid.
Yeah, it does.
Do you think there should be? I mean, like
No.
Michigan has a cool down. If
I
you
think you should have a
decide you
cool
want a
down there.
divorce, should there be a cool down?
Yeah, you should
Or
have a cool
should you
down.
just immediately, I want a divorce and it's done?
I think that definitely I think the lawyers should be, trying to, encourage that too. Because let's face it, you could be too impulsive and you might be making, a bad mistake, emotionally and everything else. And financially, you can't come back from it.
I think you go out and find somebody in bed with someone else. That might be
But,
enough. Hold on.
Another thing that I've seen in the news, Mark Robinson is suing CNN for $50 million for the Nazi article.
I think you should.
I think you should. And I hope
And I hope he
he wins.
wins.
Because, but isn't that interference in the political interference?
Yeah.
What they did to him
Oh, yeah.
by dirtying the waters?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's just basically play. I mean, that's so irresponsible.
You're running for the governor, and they're bringing up some article and it was deleted before anybody could
And the
check
other
it
side,
out and
I
make
think-
sure that it was even him.
I think it should go one past that. I think it should go after their license.
But okay, in that same vein, everybody's going off, or everybody's talking about Waltz and all the things that he may or may have not done. Well, he was a teacher and a coach at the high school with that. We talked about it.
Right.
Do you think that it's wrong to talk about it just because we've seen somebody else talk about it?
No.
No, because we're using the word alleged. They didn't use the word alleged.
Yeah.
CNN came out as if it's real news.
So you think that's the difference?
Mhm.
I mean, because I know we
Well-
don't know if it's true or not. We're just talking about it. I just brought it up because I seen it on TikTok, and I think you've seen it on
Yeah.
TikTok too. About what's the guy's name again? It's a
The
black
black
guy.
instructions.
Yeah.
Those the guys caught.
And he called him a Nazi.
No,
No.
CNN
We're
caught
talking
him.
about Waltz now.
Oh,
Sorry.
Waltz, yeah.
So Waltz was found out by a guy named Black Insurrectionist.
Okay.
Robertson, CNN brought up and said that he called himself a black Nazi, had problems with.
They
with
found,
pornography.
Yeah, I don't know. They said some porn site. I never
And then
researched it enough,
and then did some.
but nobody could verify it because it was taken down and deleted.
But see, here's the thing that I think that we don't do one step further with CNN. And if you really want to go after CNN, go after their licenses. Because if you go after their licenses that they can't.
How about if our conservative talking heads just stop talking about what CNN and all these other jerks
Stop
and
acknowledging them.
the heifers on the View are talking about? Wouldn't that, they're the ones to give them the notoriety to average people that want to know about it. What do you care about what CNN's? They're the ones that also help put nails in the coffin of what's his name again?
Mark Robinson.
Mark Robinson, by reporting what CNN said.
Right.
They should be responsible too, right? Because they reported that story as if it were true because CNN said it, right?
Right.
So why isn't Fox News and all these other news corporations responsible as
NBC,
well as
ABC,
yeah.
all the other ones? Should.
They didn't verify the story.
No, Mark Lemon. I'm not Mark Lemon. Don Lemon. Which agency was he with?
CNN.
CNN. So that's what I thought, because he said when he was doing that interview with Elon Musk, he said, "I believe in responsibility." Where's that responsibility at in this case, there, Don? Okay, it was your
Right now,
network. Yeah,
Don's-
where's it at?
Right now, Don's
But-
preaching to black men, telling them that they're wrong because
Yeah.
they're not voting.
But getting back to Waltz, InfoWars is talking about it.
I mean,
So usually, if InfoWars is talking about it, the next step is
It's gonna be
regular
mainstream.
news is going to pick it up if Alex Jones is talking about it, because Alex Jones is so much hot water. He's just not going to talk about something unless he knows some facts.
And we're only 18 days away from the election. I mean, from the.
So you think
so
this might be the October surprise?
I think it's coming.
But
Yeah.
do you think a vice president matters that much?
I don't think a vice president
to
matters.
me, it does. I'm talking about to the average dum dum.
I think
do you
that's-
think
I
they
think-
they care.
I think the sexual.
No, do you think it matters?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, if it doesn't matter, then everybody else talk about the trafficking and all this other stuff and all this other child abuse situations. If they're not consistent, with this, then
But do
they
you
are.
think it's going to sway the?
It does. It
Moms
should. Yeah, I should. I
and
think it
dads.
will. I think it will.
It'll sway the dads and the moms.
Yeah.
But voters that were going to vote for her, do you think it's going to change their mind? I don't.
Yeah, I
It,
don't.
it could stop
could-
and change a little
It
bit.
might. It may a few. You
It
might
could,
marginal.
if it's 50-50, it could switch, it could change it a little bit, but I think it's
Do
gonna
you think it'd be enough where they would pull him out and put somebody in real quick?
I don't see that'd be a possibility. I don't see how that
right
could
now.
be
I
a
don't know how you
possibility.
could.
I don't know how that could be.
We're 18 days away.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically that change is going to, basically what they're going to do is if she does get elected, and I think it's likely that she's not going to, from seeing what I'm seeing. If they get elected, if they got elected, this is all totally hypothetical. She gets in, he's the vice president. He's got this cloud hanging over it. It's not going to do well for her. Her first term being the first woman of color, being the first president, elected to the United States and all that, it's going to cast a pallor over it, in serious. And I don't think she would want that.
But we talked about it off camera. Do you think that it seems like Trump, even though he wasn't the elected president, he was like the substitute president for the last 4 years, anyways? Don't you think he like ran the narrative for Joe Biden?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think he didn't go away. He didn't sit there and twiddle his thumbs. He was so active, even doing those rallies and everything. Yeah. So basically, people are still looking at him for the leadership that was lacking under Biden and Harris. So yeah,
He was the hemorrhoid to Joe Biden.
yeah.
But do you think? Okay, so here's the deal. Do you think that? So we talked about this the other day. Joe Rogan, for 3 hours. Do you think Kamala Harris couldn't last 20 minutes with Brett Baer? Do you think she's gonna be able to last 3 hours with Joe Rogan?
I don't know, because he's a nice guy. No, he is. When it comes down to it,
So is Brett Baer.
I mean,
I just don't think she has enough to
no,
talk
I'm
about
just
for 3
saying he
hours.
has a different platform than Bear does. It's just not. It's just he'd probably just have a discussion with her.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what his show is. His show is not. He's not a. He doesn't interview people politically. He's not that kind of person. He has a talk show, like talking just like we talk.
Yeah.
Except a lot more people watch it. So.
we'd love to be.
Watches than us. Yeah.
He's our hero. No, I'd love to see. I'd love to be in that position.
But I'm sure he can have a conversation with her without tearing her up.
Well, I don't think she'd tear her up. I just don't think that there's anything that had ahead of her as long to last long.
But if
enough
you're a
to
good
become long.
interviewer, I mean, you've had people that were duds before that you've interviewed. I've witnessed it, but you still made the most of it because you sat down and
3
you
hours.
talked to him
Right.
before.
Well, about an hour, but
I
We're
mean,
talking about 3 hours.
if you know enough about him, you can get him to talk.
yeah.
Get him to feel comfortable.
But I just basically, I don't think I think she'd be hesitant.
I think there's going to be people in his headphone
telling him what to
as
say.
well as people in her headphone during the whole thing.
Do you think you're gonna start talking about after about 2 hours about the art of oral sex?
Or
I don't know. I don't think so.
No. This is Joe Rogan, not Howard Stern. So
no.
if that was Howard Stern, that'd be the first question. But
But do you think that Trump? I mean, do you think it even matters if Trump goes on Joe Rogan?
I think it'd be funny.
I think.
I mean,
I'd watch it.
Well, I mean, the
Just
most
for sure,
entertaining
take
was Theo Von still.
yeah.
like an owl on your front. What do you say? He was standing out like a front porch, like an owl. Just the way that he called, dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah,
That was the funniest interview yet. And then that Barstool Sports, I forget what it was, where they were upset because he said he wouldn't want to be hit by one of those big weightlifters from a bad neighborhood. That's why he didn't play football, and they were trying to make political hay of that.
The tight end guys.
Yeah.
The tight end. Yeah.
So did you see it?
Yeah.
Where he said, "This is what I got to say to you." I don't know who it was. That was Washington Post, and he farted into the. That's my comment.
I saw that. It was pretty obnoxious, but it's funny as hell.
He's got a sense of humor. You gotta give him that.
Well, that just proves that nobody gives a crap about the legacy media anymore. I think they're dead after this.
The respect's gone because they've destroyed their own respect.
I think if Trump does have a Washington press corps, it should be like people like normal big podcasters should have their people in there.
Yeah, I think
Well,
so
I
too.
don't think it should be these stupid papers in the AP, like we talked about before. Who are, the AP is just a bunch, just all these news organizations to get together.
We should
They
go to
are the
DC.
AP.
What'd you say?
They act like the AP is separate and above
Yeah,
them
yeah.
when it's them.
Yeah, it's like
When Trump wins, we should go to DC and get on the press pool
you
and
know,
ask questions.
you know, a TV show that actually kind of opened my eyes, and it was a fictitious show and fictitious character, but Murphy Brown, but it did give you insight to how the media is run. And I saw then it's basically this ensconced group of people who just basically are like echo chambers for each other. Yeah.
House of Cards opened my eyes to a lot of stuff.
Well, that was the Kevin Spacey one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty. That was accurate. That was very accurate about the amount of corruption and and how blatant they were about it. And the other thing is going back to Kamala Harris on Joe Rogan. I just simply said I don't think she'd be so comfortable because she might go into territory she inadvertently gives out information about that might lead to an indictment on her for something.
No,
she might
I
be
think
involved
he's
in,
going to
so.
have guardrails. He's going to be told what he can. It's not
He'll
going to
stay
be.
within his guard.
It's
Well,
not
I
going to
don't
be
see my
on
own
Joe
interest.
Rogan and I'm going to talk to her about whatever. No, it's not going to be.
I wish somebody would sit down there and talk with her.
I'm
but-
sure he seems like a good guy, but I'm sure you can get something on anybody.
Right.
But if he's not inclined to do that, then he probably
Well,
won't
why
seize an
did he?
opportunity.
Why did he agree to interview her before Trump? All of a sudden, that she says, "Oh, I'm going to go on Joe Rogan." Why would Joe Rogan want to talk to her?
Well,
What does he have to gain by talking to
Well, there-
Kamala Harris
maybe just a
as
checkpoint.
opposed to Donald Trump?
maybe just another checkpoint of well, my
No,
boss
he
or
has
something, I don't know.
nothing, right?
He really doesn't have a.
He's not going to get views.
No, I don't think so. I don't
Who's going to get more views, her or Donald Trump?
Donald Trump. I mean,
Okay,
he's much more interesting.
But what I'm saying is, there's a reason why she's going on Rogan. I think they got something on him.
or something on Trump.
Something on
Rogan.
Rogan.
Rogan. Oh yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, didn't
that'd
think
be
of that.
of the two. That would be the most. That's the dumbest interview he could do.
Yeah. I know.
There's nothing to gain by it, and there's nothing. He's not going to get views by interviewing her. So why did he say okay to her first before Trump?
Well,
He must have an opinion.
I think the reason why is because she's seeing her numbers go, and that's why she.
No, not her.
But why did
Rogan.
he say it? Because
Because you think that
I think the
you
thing
think
is,
it's blackmail?
yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. I didn't think about that, but that's the only thing I can. He's not going to gain a huge audience with this. I really don't.
No.
see it.
Nothing for him to gain. On
And
any of this.
they've already tried to get him on the ivermectin. Remember?
The
Yeah.
FCC part, they control all that.
But he's not on the public airwaves.
No, but they can get him on all of that.
No, they can't.
They can make
He's
his
not
life, they
covered
can
by
make-
the FCC.
See, they can make his life a living.
Yeah,
hell.
but not really. Not the FCC, not podcasters. That's the reason why that's why Democrats hate it so much for is because it's not under control. It was a genie that got out. They didn't.
That's
have
why
it in
they want to
place.
get rid of TikTok
That's why
because
They want to get rid of everything.
they want to get everything that can
So-
actually get
But the
information.
problem-
this goes back to Kerry.
Right.
Because we are the noise that he's talking about.
Yeah, and he doesn't like that. He goes, "We got our plan set.
But-
you just got to go along with that."
But you were going to say something before we both cut you off.
There is ways that they can get him on his finances.
Well, I'm
or anything
sure
like
there
that, and that
is.
should be in something there.
Oh, that's true, but that's like that got we've allowed these people
But the
to have too
thing
much
is,
power over our lives.
I think the country's on a tipping point.
I do too.
I think that
Think
is
that if they did try to do something to him and he let it out, people would be angry. They would have to do something about it.
It's whatever the outcome is in this election. If say Harris pulls it off, she wins.
How? I mean, yeah, okay, in a dream
Yeah.
world,
Dream world, okay,
that
but
she
Nightmare.
wins.
okay, but if that
Nightmare.
happens,
You're correct.
if that happens, the Trump supporters will go back to life as normal, try to limp along. If when Trump wins, they're going to go ape shit. Sorry, they're
Okay,
gonna go ape shit.
but not here. Maybe in Washington,
In Washington,
maybe in New York,
LA,
maybe
yeah.
in California,
But they're going to go
where
ape
they
shit.
report like it's supposed to be in the news. I don't care what
Chicago.
happens in those places. Do you?
Not really, because
Nothing ever happens. All
They'll
these
burn things
riots.
down.
How many times have you ever seen a riot in Flint, Michigan?
there's nothing else to burn down. Everything.
I mean, there hasn't been a riot here since 1968, right?
Yeah, that's about right.
And
Yeah.
that's what everybody
Other
knows.
than when they went and they blocked Stewart in front of the McDonald's for the $15 an hour. How'd
Yeah.
that work out for you?
Yeah,
No,
you
that
got
was
the
like-
kiosk there. No,
That was like what 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah, it was.
It was one day when they blocked traffic.
But-
Then everyone got hungry, and then
But
they just kept
but they
going.
didn't know people could just keep on going on Door Highway and just
Come back. around.
come back.
I just think that we're at the tipping point. I think it's scary. I really do. I'm I'm not looking for this election cycle is terrifying. That's why I look at it.
But and that's where I don't understand how you can have a business and it would just seem like I'd be anxiety ridden every day.
I think you are probably, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked
About
to a guy today. I talked to one of my friends today that's in business, and he's like, Todd, I'm looking for. He's looking to close his company down and go work somewhere else. He's like, I'm done with this. People are done, and it's like you hear from people online, and they tell you, "Oh, that's not true. It's not true," and all this other stuff, and it's true.
I mean, you see it first.
Yeah,
I mean,
see it
because I mean, yes, you do have a good product. I love your chocolates and
We just
what we
sampled-
tried today, the freeze rainbow. What's it called? I can't see.
the
Freeze rainbow candy.
freeze dry Skittles that we got out.
But
The mixture, but these are the chew, by the way. So if you're interested in like
but the
Skittles,
thing about it is, you had to spend money to make that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to figure it out. I'm sure the first. I don't know. I'm pretty sure the first batch didn't work, did it?
No,
I'm
no.
sure you had
These
to
guys
buy
been doing
it.
this for about a month. Yeah, we have to buy all this stuff. I mean, the machines.
And I'm sure chocolate's not cheap. And
No.
Skittle, it's a name brand candy. That's not cheap.
No, it's so basically you have to put in about $7,000 in to start this project.
Okay, but how do you figure it out? How do you figure out if it's a good deal before you go forward with it? I mean,
You start working out you start working out the product. You start working out all the ingredients, and then you start working out how much it's going to cost.
what is it like the distributor, the biggest
The guy that
where
makes
you
the
get it
most money.
from,
Yeah.
the biggest? Because you just can't go to Walmart and buy this and expect to make money with it.
No,
you have to make the wholesale process.
You have to go. You have to keep going and cutting prices. You have to keep finding the cheapest price for chocolates. You got to start taking it down to like being the
The
bar.
penny, right?
Yeah, you get
Pennies matter.
every
at
half
that
a
point.
penny. Every penny matters, and then go all the way down to the packaging. And then, like for instance, people don't understand like your bags, right?
No, I bet you that probably costs
That bag, right
50
there.
cents to $1. Well, depending on how many you get.
To get that, all right, to get a bag,
To get that full color, there's like
to
what?
get that bag. Okay,
Here's
so
to hold it up so people
to
see
get
it.
this bag, like if we were to go get this bag done like this, you have to order 25,000 of these bags. Now you screw up one word on this bag,
You got to
you
throw
just-
them away.
you just bought 25,000 of the bags for nothing. If one UPC line is off, the $25,000 you just spent just went out the door. So you have to
$25,000.
sometimes you have to spend $25,000 on a lot of these things because you have to get them
Well,
shipped
okay.
all that work.
But how many?
So you start off with the bags that you start off with small, you get U-line. You
Okay.
start with U-line, you start that way.
So you figured it out and you got the product.
right.
You figured out how much you need to make just to pay
Yeah.
back for what you
So
bought.
you work on your break-even analysis.
Yeah.
And then,
So
and then you try
one
to sell
weekend's not going to pay for all that.
No. that show. No. You're always
You actually go down to
October's
figure
my-
out how much.
October is my catch-up month. October, November is my catch-up and get ahead month. And then I'm down in January because all the stores, are doing inventory. And then February, March, April, May is another one. Then I stop in May because chocolate starts melting and people don't want to ship a lot. So June, July, August, I'm down again, and then I go September, October, November playing catch up again, and then November, December. So you only got 5 or 6 straight months. In
I
the
mean, you
chocolate
must
world.
know by midsummer if you're going to make it or not.
Yeah, you do. You do. It's all your orders
gotta
coming
be
in. so
scary.
good.
It's
It
gotta
is.
be.
Because I've seen
And it's more scary in the last 3 or 4 years underneath Biden. So everyone talks about how the inflation and you sit there and listen to all these people talk about how bad.
But it's the
things
same thing where I tried to explain to people about gasoline because they already bought it, but they got to buy it again.
Yeah.
So that means that if prices come up the next time you have to buy that type of candy, you got to raise prices
Right.
today.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand. They think, oh, he already bought that
And
candy.
then you have shelf life of the candy.
Right.
You have shelf life of everything. Like for instance, once you freeze dry this, they'll tell you that freeze dry will last 5 to 10 years. Once you freeze dry, some will say 25 years, but you can freeze dry pretty much anything. But freeze dry candy can take anywhere from 3 to 5 hours to up to 40 hours to freeze dry a product.
Okay, all this that we just talked about today, do you think that that you could do it with today's education?
No.
Remember the guy years ago who started a Home Depot, and at that point, this is like 10, 12 years ago, he said, if you were to start a Home Depot now, he couldn't start a Home Depot
No.
because there's so many regulations, so much cost attached to it, and most of it was red tape he was alluding to, and government interference. And so that's, I mean, and then they want people to have jobs. They say they want to encourage job growth, but then they stymie and stifle that whole
But
entire
it's like he
process.
brought up before that he bought a nice piece of equipment and you couldn't use it
No.
because of government.
We bought $15,000, and then they want us to buy a metal detector to go over that. So after that, you have to pay another $20,000 for a metal detector, so that possibly a piece of metal wouldn't come through when it had no way to come through there. So, because
But government is not good.
No,
It's
No.
never good. It's never the answer. And people should be happy that issues get knocked down and they go back to the states.
I can understand some things. I do.
Yeah,
I understand.
But you
I mean,
have
if you're having rats running around the house, I understand that's a problem. But if you're trying to keep the place clean and moving and different things like that, and you're working, that's the difference, right? If people are trying to work, that's the one.
but
spot.
even corrupt inspectors can make your life miserable. I mean, they can come in and they can find stuff.
Even inspectors that have got God images, those are the ones you ought to watch out for.
yeah, I just think the obstacles of in business, man. I think business people to me
I
are
don't know how
heroes.
you do it,
They're your heroes because I mean,
especially and then have a relationship on top of that with all the stress of a business, and then have
Jules
to come
Jules does a
home.
lot of Julie does a lot of that. She does a lot of that nice talking to people.
Mhm.
I kind of, you know,
But still,
do the
you
fashion
don't
stuff.
get away from it. If
Mhm.
you're both, if both of you are involved in it,
You
you
don't get a chance to
obviously
leave it
you don't get
behind.
a chance to leave it at the door like you would a regular job.
It
No, and
overlaps.
that sometimes causes the biggest stresses. Like for instance, if you ask Caitlin, she'll tell you the biggest stresses we have in our relationship is our business. Nothing else. My daughter and I,
Well, a business is
it's
it is
24
it's
hours,
an
7 days
anchor
a week.
around your neck
Yeah, but
It's 24
or
hours
a
a day,
cross
7
that
days.
you're going to bear until you're done with that business. Because as a business owner, it's a 24-hour.
yeah,
And you never know if
seven.
you're going to have money today or tomorrow.
First,
People think you have money. You don't always have money.
No, because
you gotta pay everything
you got to
first.
pay. You got to pay not only the people that work for you. You got to pay. When you're paying an employee, that's what people don't realize either. You got to pay almost the same amount of money to the government.
Yeah. So my grandparents had the Rancho, there in Dorton, Bristol, which was a great a restaurant bar, and it had 65 employees. And my dad talked about it. Basically, it just one day just
That
filled
had
to
to be
the
hundreds of thousands
thousands of
of
dollars.
dollars a month
It
just
was.
to pay people.
It was their meat bill for the average week for just for the meats and steaks. So it was
Right.
$10,000, and that was in the
Just the
1950s.
employees were
Yeah, it's a huge amount.
probably the biggest expense of the whole restaurant.
Basically, yeah. But plus you're dealing with the prime cuts of meat because that was a steakhouse, really well known for it. And but people are stealing them. My dad would have to go back around to the dumpster, and people would think they're being clever, roll up steaks or whatever, even lobster, and roll it up and toss it in the trash. I'm going to come back and pick it up after the shift. My dad would go back before and pick it all up, and they couldn't that steak or whatever was wrapped up. They couldn't put it back into the freezer to use it.
Right.
So they took it home and used it for themselves. But also bags of coffee for the coffee urns and stuff, Continental coffee. There's some bags of that being stuck, people trying to walk out the door with it and stuff. So that was their own employees doing that.
Can you explain how it works to what you have to pay government when you pay an employee?
Basically, you pay the employee, and then you basically pay the government almost half of what you're paying them. So if I pay someone $10, I'm paying the government about $6 for every hour I pay an employee.
And you don't get any of that money back that you
No.
paid the government.
No.
See, I've always told people this, and they get really pissed when you say that because these labor people. Your job, if you got a job, is actually a serendipitous thing. It's somebody else is pursuing wealth and creating wealth for themselves. You're enjoying the benefit of it, okay?
Right.
And it is in a sense an act of charity.
But if they think of the government as a temp service,
Right.
it does the same thing a temp service would do.
Yeah, but the problem is
No. What I'm saying it's easier for a person to when you explain it like the government is a temp service, where a temp service will go and bid a job for $20, pay him 15 and keep 5. But that's what it's like with the government.
Yeah.
But the government, what the funny thing about the government is they put their hands in their pocket. They don't do a damn thing.
Nothing.
But it's
But
like
yeah,
their
Barack
mouthpiece.
Obama will sit there all day long and say, "Well, you know, you created that. You think you created that company, but you didn't create that company."
But what about
I didn't see Barack Obama sitting there at midnight last night helping us pour out chocolates.
it's not only that, you also have to collect if you're in a city, you have to collect the city taxes for them.
You have to pay city, you have to pay state, you have to pay federal, and then you have to pay ordinances,
Mhm.
and that's on top of that.
If there's an ordinance,
If there's an ordinance, you have to pay that, and then you have to pay every year. You got to pay license, and then if you go above so much,
then you
right,
have to pay for
you have to pay a different license, and then if you go across different lines, like state lines, then you have to pay a different one, and you have to have a different team that comes in and inspects you, and then you actually,
So
if you
isn't
want
it
to
bad?
have,
That's where you hire a distributor, though,
then if you also want to have,
right?
you're right, and then if you want to have, um, you know, want to do something USDA, right? You actually have to set up an office for a person, pay for them to be in this office, pay their salary, set them up in the office from USDA, you know, pay everything for the government to have this person there, have everything set up there for them.
So what you're saying is, an employee of the government
You have to pay
that
for
you're
everybody.
employing,
We have to employ the city of the
right?
government,
Okay,
plus
okay,
pay the government to have
okay.
them there.
It's-
Not only do we have to pay the person, you have to pay the government to have them there. So you're
Right.
paying
That's what I'm
double.
saying.
So I'm paying them
I
double.
understand.
Yeah, this. Well, anyway, if anybody wants to start a business, from my understanding of it, it's probably a real
Not a
good
real
idea.
bad time.
We're not a real good time, but
But then you sit there and listen to Joe Biden sit there and say, well, you got to pay your fair share. And it pisses me off when he says shit like that.
Well, and the thing is, there's so much gray money. I mean, think about it. You not only pay, they're not only extorting you as a business owner,
Right.
that the average employee doesn't even know that you're paying 1.5 times
Right.
for them to be employed. Then that employee who gets taxed on that money at the end of the year has to pay another person money in order to get that money back,
Right.
because they're just not automatically going to give it to you,
Right. And the government should do that.
which is stupid.
so you understand that when people say that the government hates the mafia because it hates competition, they're accurate. They're not exaggerating.
And especially everything's written by lawyers,
Right.
so you can't read it anyways.
No.
You have to hire somebody else. All the stupid laws, you got to hire an accountant
Just to do it.
to read it for you.
It's like what? So it's like I don't
I
know
have
how
an
you guys do
accounting
it.
firm that takes care of everything because
Because you can.
You have accountants pay for it all, like that Joe Walsh song. I have
Yeah.
accountants that pay for it all.
no, actually I do.
Yeah.
I pay, and thank God we have got an accounting firm that does it, and they pay $40 a month, and they take care of all of our books for us,
Serious.
and they
Mm.
take care of what we do, and we write them, and then they write the checks for us for everybody. So
It's
and then the banks, and the funny thing about the banks is that if you don't have over $1,000 in your card on your account every month, then they start charging you compound interest for everything and stuff like that. So everywhere you go, but then if you now here's the thing: if you have over 200 some $1,000 in your bank account in the as a company,
Right.
the banks, oh my God, they'll open the doors for you. and
But
everything
I
like
know
that.
somebody with that same thing. That they have a bank account that's like a premium account because of the amount of money that they have in it.
Yeah,
They tell them how many times they can draw out of that account a
per month. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know money
And how
market to
much?
that too.
You're taking too much of
Yeah.
your own money.
yeah.
It's
Banks are good at that. So
so, but anyway,
Right.
if you guys know a person who owns a store by your house and it's an independently owned store, someday when after you hear this stuff, you should go up there and say, shake their hand and say you think they're a heroic person.
Or actually, I don't know how you're doing it.
Yeah, I don't know how you're doing it. I don't.
Well, I guess
thank the guy. I'll tell you what, we sell to a lot of different stores, and we sell our displays that I've shown you that one
Right.
time. We sell our displays with the pretzels and the chocolates and everything on there, right? That we give back to the charities that we talk about, right? I'll tell you this much: thank the people, because honestly, they're the store owners are the ones that actually will sit there and pay the 225 for us to come in and sell that display to them. Thank that person, because honestly, they're the reason why we're able to give back the percentages we do, and they're still the ones, honestly, that still believe in the community.
but still,
The liquor store
what you
owners,
sell,
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Oh, it's good
high
stuff.
end. It
Yeah.
should be called. Well, it is gourmet.
yeah, it is gourmet, and it does help, and it's a low price.
Right.
We keep
Our
everything.
town snacks.
Our town snacks is probably one of my favorite chocolates we eat.
Mm.
So, and I know I gave you guys some, but that stuff we gave you guys today is coming out next week.
All right.
It's the cherry.
I
So
think he's going to do well, especially the espresso one.
yeah, that was good.
It's a good mix.
I had to give it to you because I ate too much on the way over today. So I had
So
to
get
give you
out of this.
mine.
Yeah, you got to watch it, man. Otherwise, one more piece and it's like it's not going to be pleasant.
I won't be sleeping tonight.
No, be wired.
I'll be talking all night long, and Julia probably want to kill me at the morning. So,
You want to push the envelope even further.
all right, I have hit all the limits for me.
Me
How
too.
about you?
I'm
I think it's time to play the music, John.
okay.
After you
No,
play-
but no.